We're just a few days away from Lent, and this year I intend to devote myself to fasting. I wanted to make this video as a way of sharing my own intentions and experiences. Hopefully I'll make another video after Easter and then reflect on the whole thing. This is the first year that I'll have attempted a genuine period of fasting, so beyond just giving up little things for Lent. So I'm going to be following a modest fast for a beginner of 1 meal per day plus 2 smaller meals. Now, amongst Anglicans and Roman Catholics here in the UK, there's not much beyond just giving up chocolate for Lent and things like that. But I wanted to try and sacrifice a little more than that. It may not be the kind of fast that some of you Orthodox guys undertake, but I'm sure it'll be tough enough for me for now. I realise in making a video about this and broadcasting it to at least a few people who watch this, I'm sort of out of step with Christ's own words on the subject. And he says, "And whenever you fast, do not look dismal like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces so as to show others that they are fasting. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward. But when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face, so that your fasting may not be seen by others, but by your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you." So that said, hopefully there's nothing too self-aggrandizing here. My intention is purely to use this video to bind me to this decision to fast. I suppose it'll only work in an honest way if I then share my failures afterwards. That's not that I intend to fail or that I'm being defeatist. I'm going to try and give it my all, but in all likelihood, I know there'll be a few testing times to come over the next 40 days, especially because I'm a beginner. I'll have some, I suppose what you'd call manual labor to do over the next few weeks. Me and my wife have a baby who still keeps us awake at night. So as you can imagine, these are all perfect routes in for that deceiver, that little voice that will come and say, come on, you deserve a little extra tonight. That voice that could be slowly chipping away at my resolve. So very briefly, why fast at all? During Lent, we're commemorating the fast undertaken by Christ during his 40 days in the desert and his temptation. For me, I find the imitation of Christ to be extremely powerful. I've spoken on this little channel about it before, and I suppose I want to try and put my money where my mouth is, if you'll excuse the crude expression. I want to try and implement this in my own life. We live in a very unhealthy culture that seems to cater to the appetite at every turn. It's a culture built on instant gratification, the kind which wouldn't have been remotely recognized by the early Christians or even people 100 years ago. So I want to try and put myself to the test a little and make a sacrifice for what I've come to believe the highest good, namely God, has done for me. My world has been so enriched by Christ in more ways than I can count. I know that I've been extremely blessed, and I want to try and offer this Lenten period and my attention up to him, rather than focusing on my own appetite or my own will and my own day-to-day distractions. Now, in the Protestant world, fasting doesn't seem to be much of a thing, with the exception of Anglicans, Methodists and Lutherans. My wife is a Roman Catholic, and in our experience in the UK, there doesn't seem to be much beyond an expectation of fasting on Ash Wednesday and Good Friday. So just those 2 days. And as I say, you could give up chocolate for the whole 40 days, which might be enough for some, but it's not really going to do anything for me. It seems to me that in the Eastern Orthodox Church, fasting is still very much a more prominent spiritual discipline. So here's the rule I'm going to be setting out with. From Ash Wednesday to Holy Thursday, there'll be 1 regular meal per day, plus 2 small meals, which add up to less than a full meal. I'll be having my main meal for dinner in the evening, so I'll see how that works out. As I'm new to fasting, I won't be abstaining from meat, other than on Fridays, as usual, on Ash Wednesday, and of course on Good Friday. I'm only going to have meat with the day's main meal, so once per day when permitted. I'll also be having nothing sweet during Lent, so no desserts or sugary snacks throughout, and no chocolate. There are 3 solemnities that fall during Lent: the Solemnity of St. Joseph, the Annunciation of the Lord, and of course Palm Sunday. So in honor of those, I can take a break from the fast and have a breather, as it were. I'm also going to cut out all alcohol during Lent, with the exception of those solemnities where I'll probably allow myself a small glass of wine or mead or something like that. Crucially, I'll be supplementing less food with more spiritual nourishment. I've been getting a lot from Robert Barron's Word on Fire Bible with his commentary and the commentary from the Church Fathers interspersed throughout that. And I want to try Lectio Divina with the Gospels, focusing on the temptation of Christ and of course on the Passion narrative. So the giving of alms is also encouraged at this time. So that'll be charity in my own community, but I don't really need to talk about that here. So let's just say I'll need to try to be a little bit less selfish in my day-to-day life. We'll see what Christ has in store. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and God bless.